Due to the graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Anything else? I mean, the guy's not very
What is he going to
bright.
do?
Yeah.
Run another business to the ground?
I mean,
Yeah.
all of them, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Well,
That club they opened in North Carolina, that didn't last, did it?
no, not at all.
They had to sell it.
Yeah.
They had to because they got a huge lawsuit.
Well, they got in a lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
What happened?
We putting the business on the pod because we are fucking live at the Tip Rail podcast. Yeah, I just wanted to hold on one fucking second. I wanted to.
I can smell the beans.
Whew,
Public
I mean,
record.
you know, I'm just
it's
saying, let's introduce the thing before we get into the topics. Hang on one
like the
second.
premature
That was a little
ejaculate
spicy, and I think,
everywhere.
you know, you know, like I said, basically nothing in my pants over here. We got the fucking special guest on. Everybody, once again, give it up for Mr. Matt Nyberg sitting across the fucking way from me. And then, as always, you know, we got Dave over here on the left.
Hello.
And we got John on the motherfucking right.
Woo woo.
And, you know, every 10 minutes here at the Tip Rail podcast, we be hitting these motherfucking, well, some of us hit a little line. Some of us hit a little fucking weed pen or whatever the fuck this thing is. But, again, joining us in the studio, gracing us with this fucking guest appearance, Nyberg, man, it's great again being here on another fucking Tuesday night in the Des Moines metro area, right?
Thanks for having me, man. Part two.
Part fucking two. We really appreciate you coming on and giving us the good inside peek of the fucking industry because, you know, if you didn't hear previously on the Tip Rail podcast, the fantastic fucking stories that Mr. Nyberg brought to the fucking Tip Rail,
Maybe we should
go back and listen to that shit. You can find it all over the place because that's where we are. Like, just Google us and you can fucking see our podcast. So it's pretty fantastic. But let's
Do
get
you want
it
to go
going
back
again.
to where you left off, or you
I
want to
mean,
go with the lawsuit?
wherever
Yeah,
you want to.
we can go back to where I left off.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's
Because
fresh
then
on my
lead to that,
mind.
because then he leaves.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but we'll get there. We'll get there in another 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we left off. So a lot of history, a lot of stories in the last podcast. But now where I'm at is starting, you know, sensing a shift in the business around
You're finding a side gig or,
Yep,
or
2000.
a new gig.
Yep,
Yeah,
will.
the backup plan, right? You're
Yeah.
starting to play. You're starting
The
to prepare.
exit strategy.
Yeah,
So
there
I
you
met
go.
I met my fiance at the time. I met my fiance at Corey Taylor's wedding. We have kids. We have twins, and right about this time, I'm like, okay, I vowed that if I ever had children, I would get out of this business.
Yes.
Now I had.
Yeah.
So, which was I was a little scared because I was making the money that I was making in that club was ridiculous. There was one weekend where, I mean, it was the perfect, the stars aligned, and this would have been in 2005, 2006. I walked out of the club with $4,800 in tips.
Is that your best
And
night?
that was my best
Okay,
night.
perfect.
And that
that's
was
great.
the stars aligned, and I had every high-paying girl
I made
in there.
400 one night, and I thought I was king.
Hey, man, that was pimp shit for your time. That was pimp shit. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
We
so
weren't
I
there
had-
in that time.
And I never told anybody till now.
120
because-
girls, he said. Remember? You know?
Yeah, it was a Tuesday for me. Tuesday,
Yeah.
2 for 1. I killed it that night.
And I never said anything because I was like, this is. I was worried someone was going to try to, you know, I didn't want to
Oh,
say
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Well,
No,
it
like
wasn't
robberies, man.
Yeah,
Like
robbery,
fucking
yeah,
people.
yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
want anyone like owner-wise to say, well, this guy's making too much money or
Right.
whatever. So I never told, but you know, I kept my
yourself.
books, I kept
Right,
my
yeah,
journals,
yeah, yeah.
kept my
Show
journals. So, but the stars aligned that night. I had all the good tippers out. A bunch of rappers came in.
Oh, fair.
There was a bunch of WWE wrestlers came in, and at the time, I was making sure that these people were taken care of. So,
Yeah.
I would say, put these guys over in the VIP. I would, you know, now I go up and introduce myself. Some of them already knew who I was, and I'd be like, you need anything, you let me know. You come right up to the DJ booth and let me know. The security will let you upstairs. So, you know, so they'd come up and, you know, some high rollers come in and they'd come in and say, hey, we need this and this. And I'd be, oh yeah, sure. I'll arrange that for you. I'd send someone to the store to get them what they need. You know,
Yeah,
like it was that
absolutely,
old
yeah.
school way of taking care of people.
Yeah, we
that-
did bouncer runs occasionally as
Yeah.
well. You know, go get something from up the street. So
So I could, and like I said, but anyway, I sense that this change was happening in the business to where that old school mentality was kind of disappearing. And I said, all right, if I ever have kids, I'm out of here. So I had twins, and I'm like, I gotta go. So I started planning an exit strategy. And about this time, I said, you know, I'll do haunted houses, and then I'm like, I'm going to open an inspection company. And so I was going to inspect properties. So I started, and I had always been very careful with my money and very that I made at the club. I did save a bunch. So I had a lot of money saved.
Right. Yeah.
Right around this time, I figure out that my fiance has cancer. And so I'm like, and that was totally unexpected.
I remember
She had
that.
just
I
given
remember
birth.
that, yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
So now this is, it isn't the fact that it isn't just like I got let go from the club and I was butthurt about it. That wasn't it. What bothered me was that I got let go for something I didn't do. And it had something to do with the old school stuff. But I think it was 2 weeks. It was either 2 or 3 weeks before I was let go. One of the owners came to town to walk through the club with Demon and with Pastry Chef. And I made it a point to be there because I was like, I have been working this place for 10 years, more than that, 12 years at that point. And I had represented this place everywhere I went, out of state, in Los Angeles, in Mexico. I went to a Mexican club and they knew about me and
See,
the
that's world
lumberyard.
famous. That's
Yeah.
world famous.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
We're covered.
I was on a microphone in a Mexican strip club. Nobody spoke English, but they still gave me the mic, and nobody understood what I was saying. But
Right,
they were
yeah.
all freaking out. And I was down there with a feature entertainer, and that's an amusing tale. So I was offered $10,000 to have sex with this girl live on stage in front of everybody. And
Did you take the money?
I did not. No, now there's a whole story behind that too. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
I'm sorry. We'll get there.
I'm getting
We
ahead
got
of
time.
myself.
We got
I keep
time.
bouncing
We're
around. So anyway, the owner was going to be there, and here's this guy. I'd only met him twice in all these years that I worked. I was there opening night. All these years I worked there, I met these guys 2 times and contributed to them making all this money. And so I wanted to make it a point. At that point, my fiance just had we just had twins, and now she's fighting cancer. And I'm like, okay, I need this job now. Like, I have to have this job. I have to take care of my kids. I have to take care of her. And it was the first time that I needed the job.
Right.
And I relied on the income because even though we had benefits to help her out medically, she ended up being so far gone that we had to reach into experimental treatments. And we were sending her to a facility in Arizona to get experimental blood transfusions and all this stuff. I mean, it was awful.
Jesus, man.
And so I made it a point to be there when this owner came. And I said, I'm going to give him a card and say thank you for the decade and year or so of whatever of employment, reintroduce myself to him. And I bought him a gift card for a restaurant. I don't remember which one, but it was for $250.
All right, yeah.
And I said, so I walked around with them, and before he left, I said, hey, I want to give this to you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I wrote in the card, I said, from me and my fiance and my children, we're in this cancer battle right now, and we couldn't do it without this employment. Thank you so much. And he was like, wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much. 2 weeks later, I'm out the door. And I was like, and
I didn't know all that shit,
well,
man.
I
Damn.
couldn't believe it. And it was at that point where I was like, these guys really are scumbags because they knew about this. And so I kind of figured I knew what it was about, because we briefly, brought it up.
Yeah.
And so I wrote another letter because I was not 100% ready to leave yet. Keep in mind, I had an exit strategy to leave that business and go do other endeavors because I had children and to get out of that. And I never wanted to explain to my kids what I did.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had the exit strategy in place to go do other work, but it wasn't quite ready. It just wasn't there. At the time, I thought it was like 6 months off. It turns out I was only two weeks off, So I wrote a letter to the owners and to Demon and to the pastry chef saying, look, you guys know what's going on with me right now. I need this job. I need this. I have to save my fiance's life. Like, I'm literally trying to save her life. And I said, look, for years, and it was a long letter. And I said, for years, I have represented this club everywhere I've gone. And not just myself and my band, but the club. I mean, there's limos getting sent for me. I'm rubbing shoulders with famous people.
You're fucking literally a goddamn rock star, man. Like, for the fucking lumberyard.
Surface.
Exactly.
I'm like the things that I'm being accused of doing. Yes, I've done them in the past, but I was told not to. And it was that girl. She'd come in and give me $100 and say, "Don't let me hit the stage. I'll be down in the private dance room." I'd be like, "Yeah, cool."
Yeah.
Well, pastry chef would come up to me and said, "Don't do that anymore." And I disagreed with that. Well, look, if she's going to be down there making the club money, let her sit down there. She's tipping you, the bouncers, me very well to stay down there.
So, like, to speak to that effect, literally that woman would go up to every fucking customer. So it's not like she wasn't being seen by everybody anyway. You know, it's like you don't need to put her on stage. It literally, she will go and talk to every single customer. She's a hard fucking worker.
She was fucking sane.
She wanted to be down in the private dance. She wanted to fucking get that money. And it's like, I can understand that same fucking mentality. Like, why would I put a girl on stage that doesn't want to go on stage when I have 32 other girls on, at my point, like I didn't have nearly as many. It wasn't as popping. Shit had fucking because pastry chef knows how to fucking sink a plane and do the fucking C, basically. So
I
really hope he hears this.
So I'd written this long letter to them basically saying, look, I've represented this place for years everywhere I've gone. And I said, literally, I've got some of the most famous people in the business. I mean, and at the time, Ron Jeremy was still a big deal.
Right. Yeah.
But all these feature entertainers, all these porn stars, and all these people, they knew who I was, and they would, and I said, so, a lot of these people call me the face of the lumberyard. And I remember I waited for a response and I didn't get one. And then I remember I stopped up to talk to you one day, and it was like a couple days afterwards. And I said, "Hey, did they get my letter?" And you said, "Yeah, they got the letter, but they were really upset when you said that you thought that you were the face of the club."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why were they upset?" And they said, "Well, they got offended by that. I think they think that you think that you're too big for your britches." And I knew right then, I was like, this isn't going to work. Even if I stayed, this isn't going to work.
Right.
Like, these
you're just going to have that animosity towards them and just fucking hate them a little bit.
It's like they're so out
Or they're
of
going to come back
touch.
to you and say, "Hey, you owe us $500 a week."
Start charging you to be there, So,
But I started
a DJ house fee or something.
Yeah. And I started thinking to myself, I'm like, these guys are so far out of touch. And then I realized they don't know that I've done any of this. They don't know that all these famous people in these
they're just so hands off. They're fucking clueless.
They had no idea that
they're absent owners.
They had no idea that all these famous. They don't know about limos getting sent for me in Dallas, Texas, to bring me to clubs. They don't know about me DJing at other clubs, guest DJing, representing the lumberyard. They don't know about these famous people. They just didn't know. I mean, they were totally absent and clueless to what was going on. And anybody that could validate these things, they're not going to listen to anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So they just let it be done. And at the end of the day, what had happened was one of the girls that worked and this was my understanding. One of the girls that worked in the club was old and on her way out. And she was good friends with one of the owners. And by good friends, I can only assume what was really going on, a little slurp, slippity slurp here and there.
Shake,
So, and granted, that's all speculation. I don't know. But anyway, so she was very jealous of this girl coming and going down in the private dance room all night. And was
it was
furious.
the fucking cat fight, huh?
And so she would come up to me and be like, "Why doesn't she have to go on stage?" And I'd be like, "Well, she's making the club a ton of money right now. She needs to go on stage." So she went to the owners, complained. And then this is my understanding of what happened.
No, this sounds fucking absolutely
right. Then the owners
yeah.
went to pastry chef, and then pastry chef came to me and said, "Hey, you got to put this girl on stage." And I said, "All right, I will." So, and I remember one of the nights close to the end there, she was in there working, and she came up, gave me $100 bill, and I said, "I can't accept this." And I said, "I have to put you on stage." And she was like, "Okay, I guess I'll go on stage." I mean, I figured I was making more money for the club down in the, doing what I was doing.
Yeah,
I said, "You are," but someone's throwing a fit, and she's like, "All right, no big deal." So I put her on stage, and this happened a few times. I told her I can't skip you anymore. You have to go on stage. So I did. And I thought it was a done deal. Well, this older girl on her way out, just watching her, and every little thing this girl did, she's like, "That bitch, she thinks she's just the shit, that bitch, blah, blah, blah." And I remember looking at her going, "Man, you're up here bitching about her. She's down there taking all the money."
Yeah, go down there and fucking
go down there and make money.
Yeah.
Do the fucking job.
Yeah. So, and then it wasn't long. It wasn't long after that, a few weeks, that everything went down. And ultimately, when that happened, I had a lot of money saved from my time at the club. Most of it got spent on taking care of my fiance.
Right,
And
yeah.
we missed, I think it was a month of treatments. And ultimately, I don't know for sure. I can speculate, but ultimately I think that's what ended her. She interrupted this cycle of all these experimental blood transfusions and chemo and radiation. We had to apply for different benefits, and she had good insurance, but everything got interrupted.
Right.
And so I was really, really upset
I bet.
with these owners, and ultimately, she passed away,
Right.
and left me with my 2 kids. So my kids are 4. Their mother just died, and I'm like, this, and all I could think of was these guys are sitting here collecting these fat checks, and they just ruin people's lives.
Yeah.
They'll
Don't give a
fire
fuck.
people for no reason, and in my case,
won't even tell you.
yeah,
Exactly.
and in my case, after everything I did, I was let go at the absolute, and I mean, granted, I was leaving anyway, but nobody knew that. They didn't know that. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had like.
Yeah.
I knew you were doing your haunted house shit, but you always did that.
Yep.
Like,
And so I was always the animosity that I have isn't because, like, if I had done something wrong, I would be the first one to admit it. Like if I'd stolen, I stole something, or I was doing drugs, or I was doing this, I did. I stopped doing what they asked me to stop doing. I made it. I said, look, I disagree with this, but you're the boss. I'll do this. So I stopped doing it, let go anyway, wrote the letter. They got all butthurt about it, and that was that. And I was like, these people, I knew right then, I was like, I'll never step foot in this place again. And since then, the word on the street is all gone. There's no buzz about the club anymore. Nobody talks about it anymore. It's Demon and the pastry chef. These guys are just absolutely clueless,
burying shit into the ground.
They're just and the fact is that place will probably run for a while, but it's running on the fumes of the machine that we made back in the day.
Right.
Well,
Absolutely.
I think those fumes are gone. It's just running on the fact that there's still perverts out there.
I mean,
That's
people want in-person
the
titties.
perverts that are going in there now don't know the history of it when it was.
And
so I think the fumes are done gone. It's just running on pure.
And
it's perpetual motion at this point. It's just gonna, it's like it's still rolling downhill a little bit. But I mean,
Demon and pastry chef and those guys, they knew about my situation at
Oh,
home
yeah.
too.
Yeah.
They could have said something. They could have, and I don't know if they had a hand in it.
Everybody knew your situation.
everybody
you weren't
knew.
hiding your situation.
Right. And everybody and so ultimately there, if I had kept my job there, would it have saved her life? I'd probably not. I mean, she was very sick.
But you never know.
And you can't really predict that. You can't focus on like that moment ever. It is what it is, and it sucks. But it's like,
and it's but it really, at that point in time, I was like, even if I knew when they got all upset about my letter and said, who does this guy think he is? Thinks he's the face of the club. I knew right then. I was like, you know what? Even if these guys say I can come back, I don't want to come back because these people are monsters. Yeah. They are literally the worst business people,
worst business slave drivers.
Yeah. I mean,
like they will use the people under them to climb.
To know about my situation and to say, fuck them, is appalling. And I'm not just saying that because like I said, I wasn't butthurt about getting let go. It was it was the only point in time when I needed to rely on that to take care of my family. And they knew about that situation, and it was over a thing with a girl. And the guy with one of the, he was maybe he was sleeping with her. I don't know. But it's something was going on. This friendship with this girl. Yeah.
She had enough pull to make that phone call.
So fantastic. We absolutely, yes. It is talking about, correct?
No, I thought it was
no.
Because she did the same shit to me.
And I always got along with her, but she was incredibly fake. I mean, I DJ'd for her.
Right. So you want to hear how she ended up deciding to not be at the fucking club anymore. So after fucking John's management team got fired, because this is after you, I'll fill you in on a little bit extra. So they ended up increasing the fucking price that they were charging the dancers to 10 at that point. That. And fucking not charging the customers anymore, still 25 for the customer. They were taking fucking 20% more of the fucking private dance fee, basically. And then that's when she finally decided to fucking call it quits. She never came back after that. But fuck that bitch.
Yeah, she was.
Wasn't there like you can?
Yes.
Yeah,
that
was the girl.
Because she tried to throw her weight around with me, and there was one night where she was sitting down on the not the tip rail, but the glass railing down there in front of VIP.
Yeah,
with one of her regulars, and the house lights are on, and like all the bouncers have gone up to her and said, "Hey, it's time to go. Like you need to leave," and they wouldn't leave. And finally, I had to fucking come out from counting money and was like, "Hey, shit's over. Let's go." Like, as soon as I'm done counting money, I'm turning the lights off and I'm out of here and you're out of here. And she's like, "I'm going to tell the manager. I'm going to tell the owner on you." And I'm just like, okay, like, I don't care. Get the fuck out, you know?
Right.
Like, and then it was a couple weeks later, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like,
it you know, and I knew, but I knew right then, I was like, even if these guys tell me I can come back, I'm not coming back. These people are just despicable. They're just despicable. And despite how much Demon sucks and Pastry Chef sucks and those owners, but I pray that I still hope that they don't have to experience what I had to experience because it was awful.
Yeah, and you don't want to wish that shit on anybody. Absolutely. Nobody wants to watch that happen and then get fucking fired on top of it.
Those guys have no business.
Heartless shit, you know.
Pastry Chef has no business running anything, and Demon it can't be the face of anything. He's just this flaky guy.
Well, he was never fucking around once. I mean, like I barely ever saw him from the time I started working.
Well, no, because they opened up the North Carolina club and.
North Carolina.
They went that way.
I sit and wonder sometimes, and I know that the business is about making money, but honestly, some of the decisions that those guys were making, I would sit back and say to myself, this cannot be a business that's predicated on making money. They're making such bad decisions that I can't fathom what they're thinking the end game is going to be here. And I literally watched them take this money monster and just break it down little by little, and it just got less and less. And I'm like, God, and I get it. Businesses change, things change. They're trying to play it safe. They're trying to, but you can't run a business. I've never seen a business where you have owners that are so they're either incompetent or they don't care.
They don't care.
And
it's all because they have other companies.
Yeah, they've got other companies,
and this is just side money for them.
And I can't fathom though being in a position to where you have all these people working so hard for you and you're absent. If I've had people working for me now for over 20 years and they're loyal, good people. And it's like, but they know me. They're present, like there's a face. And they know who I am, and they work hard for me.
Mr. Face.
It's
Sir Face.
Sir Face.
And it's like all these people that I've worked with these people for so long, and I'm good friends with them, and they're loyal. And if they would have made their presence known every now and again, shaken some hands and been like, "Hey, I appreciate what you do. Thanks for working hard," that employee is going to be less likely to steal. They're going to be more likely to work harder. Instead, you've got these faceless, nameless, incompetent owners who seem like they don't care.
And then all you hear is just a trickle down, like, "Hey, the owner says we got to change this.
Yeah,
the owner says we got to do this."
So it rubs off on the employees, and now you're not going to get loyal employees because they don't care about they're making money for someone they don't even know.
Yeah,
and it's a dirty business anyway. It's why not make your presence known and try to make it as clean as possible? You'll keep employees longer. People will be happier. People will not be afraid that they're going to be shit canned.
Well, I think that's what Demon was supposed to be.
Yeah,
he was supposed to be the face of their ownership.
And he was looking out for himself.
No,
is what it was.
They basically kind of figured out that the bouncers and the staff at the fucking place can handle running the fucking club. Yeah. There's no fucking need for me to be there. Just stay home and fucking do whatever, pass
collect
on
money.
the couch, get my paycheck or whatever.
Be on fucking Xbox Live all night.
Yeah. So these guys, they're all. They're just all losers, and they'll probably never do the management, the Pastry Chef and Demon. They'll never do anything else because they can't. They don't have enough brains. And
you know how long it took me to get that out of my resume, where that I managed the lumberyard.
Oh God!
Because it's like for a while there, once I got out, it was like, okay, I went back to school. I got my associate's degree. I fucking started doing body work, and I started doing these jobs and these jobs just so I could finally get that shit off my resume. So they're like, oh, what is entertainment tonight? What is Midwest hospitality? Like, and it's like, damn it, I got to explain that I used to fucking manage a strip club.
Yeah, it was like, like the fucking connotation of the club and the strip club life and everything, and like having to go get a job afterwards is just kind of like, all right, well, how do I turn this into a skill? I just thought about it and I tried to apply for like an audio engineer or something along that lines, but it's like, I don't really have professional experience that I want to talk to you about. Like, I ran a BYOB nightclub and I played some music and corralled a bunch of dancers up. Like, yeah, so everybody like, you worked at the lumberyard? Oh my God, that must have been the coolest fucking job ever. And I'm like, actually,
it kind of sucks.
It's not as fucking cool as you think being on the inside of all this shit. I have to watch girls fucking cut their tampon strings and fucking shove them in their pussies. Like, you know, like...
there's a dark side to it.
Yeah, the customer experience and the fucking employee experience are vastly fucking different. So, yeah, absolutely.
I remember going home realizing that I'll never step foot in that club again. And part of me was relieved because I was like, if I could see these owners or demon or pastry chef, I'd slap them in the face.
You have to go back. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But you know where the girls' downstairs bathroom was?
Yeah.
Yeah, right next to the mop sink or whatever.
Yeah.
So they took that and they built an indoor outhouse.
Oh, we can show them the janitor's wife.
What?
Yeah. So because they couldn't get the county to okay them to blow that wall out and make a bigger bathroom because you're not allowed to expand in Polk County. Yeah. So they went inward. So they built a bathroom inside the club and it's all wood. Like it looks like a fucking outhouse.
Yeah, it's an outhouse.
And it's got a little fucking door on the side that you walk in and it gives them like an extra 3 stalls. But then there's still the original bathroom there, too.
Oh, my God.
So you have, like, this... I haven't been in it because it's the girls' bathroom. But it looks like a fucking outhouse.
I've been in it because I've had to clean it. Yeah,
That's
so
hilarious.
the water line could only get expanded one direction, and they basically just took where, like, the ice machine and, like, all that shit, and they just shoved that down fucking an extra 10, 15 feet towards the VIP and the stairs and shit, so it's like right in front of that.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like an outhouse with fucking
indoor outhouse.
Yeah, it's indoor outhouse. Yeah. So the best part is that I know that the interior one has a lock on it. So all these fucking girls go and do like OnlyFans shit in there nowadays, apparently. And I've seen a little bit of free shit. But anyway, go on.
Jesus,
yeah.
Self-incrimination shit. Fuck.
Jeez.
Yeah. And we made a little movie in there. I was going to the night before. I was going to make a crescent moon stencil. It was huge. So I could take it in there while we were filming the movie and then fucking take it down. Like, and just wait to see how long it would take them to notice that I
would probably still be there.
You know?
That's priceless.
Because it's a peak. It's a fucking... It's an outhouse. The door's just on the side instead of in the front.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
I remember leaving, and I'm like, yeah, I'll never step foot in there again. I've spent enough time in there, 11, 12 years or whatever it was, and then before that, we're gonna beach girls for 7 years.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like my time in this industry is probably done.
Yeah.
Well, I knew I went home. And I was a little scared. I was like, well, I'm going to start this business idea that I had planned. I'm going to start it a little bit sooner than I expected. So within 3 weeks, I was making more money than I was at the club.
Oh, shit.
And I had everything all ready, and I kind of swept right back into things. I shouldn't say that. It was a little bit longer than that, but I was making close to the same amount of money. There was a stutter there for a little bit where... there was some loss of income, and me and my fiance at the time definitely felt it, but of course her medical situation definitely exasperated it, but got things going again. And then I was like, I never looked back. I just went to other stuff, went to the next chapter of business in my life, and that was it.
Yeah.
I won't ever step foot in that club again. But I would go to Beach Girls.
Now, what if it came under new ownership, got completely remodeled?
We took it over.
A
mass takeover. We go over there and beat some shit.
I would. If it had new owners, I suppose I would.
I don't think they'll ever release the fucking grip of that place. I don't really see that happening. But
loss.
Yeah,
just like they did with when the Lumberyard 2 caught on fire.
Yeah,
it was a complete loss. They just washed it.
What, the Lumberyard 2's gone?
Yeah, during COVID, it fucking caught on fire.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that. And that's another thing is I trained the employees up there.
What was his name? he was a good DJ too.
Yeah, he was. He did not need me to
wasn't.
train him. He did not. Yeah. He did not need me to train him. He just had to. They said I was going to train every one of the bouncers and all that.
Yeah.
So I was up there doing that for the first 2 weeks. I worked in that club.
Yeah.
And but he didn't need anything from me. He was good to go. He was a great DJ. But he wanted him to kind of oversee me and see how things worked. But that place was pretty good. I didn't know it was gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the way that club is now, I mean, you think about it, and back in the day, it was the must-see thing. You would go to a bar around town, everybody go to dance clubs or whatever. Everyone would go to the lumberyard afterwards. Everyone
was it 30,000 square feet?
Yeah, it was massive.
Yeah, it was huge.
Everyone would go there, and there was a huge word on the street. The advertising was off the chart. We'd be famous people coming and going.
At my time, we were spending $50,000 a year on advertising, so I can only imagine what you guys.
Oh
were doing.
my god, yeah, and it was hitting the street. It was old school promotion. It was going to events, hosting special events, and doing all this stuff. And then and now there's no buzz. The word on the street is. I mean, there is no word on the street.
They don't even pay for to be on the radio or anything for Blazer and shit. So it's like.
Yeah, they got rid of.
Guys, they don't want to spend
They even got
5,000.
rid of fucking amateur night.
Yeah, see that
They had an amateur night
bring
on
one
fucking
back.
Thanksgiving
Once.
Eve.
Yeah.
One
They
fucking.
didn't advertise it.
Yeah, I mean,
and now
they had an
it's-
EDM show actually on a couple Thursdays ago. So
That was interesting to see.
you know, but really, yeah, it's kind of
I mean that, and you know, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not the best, you know, I'm not the best in the world or any of that stuff, but I do know that compared to what it is now, the heyday of that thing is long gone,
Right.
and it
Now, do you
didn't
think about that
have to be that way.
in the industry as itself?
Yes, and
Not just the yard.
not
but-
just the yard. The yard is significantly worse because of very poor management and bad owners.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's sheer incompetence.
Well, I mean, even if you stay just around the metro, like the Beach Girls isn't doing that great.
Yeah,
from
well,
what I hear.
the entire industry. We looked at that chart that one time. The
Yeah.
whole shit's kind of like fucking wavering and
Yeah,
gone downhill
OnlyFans,
since
COVID.
and fucking like online. There's a lot more services to fucking directly.
I was
going to
say a big
fucking
thing of that
dancers,
was
basically.
a big thing of that is the online thing now. So it used to be so there was no internet when I was in the heyday. The internet, I mean, there was internet, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So
Back when my back didn't
back
spasm.
in the day when they came out with the internet, so there was internet, but it wasn't as it was so
it wasn't
different.
perverted like it is now.
Yeah. Now
It's free.
Now you can get on.
back
And,
then.
I mean, now you can get on anywhere. If a guy wants a blowjob, he can get online and probably find somewhere to go within 5-10 minutes. Back in the day,
Bet Live.
back in the day, everyone would be like, "We got to go to the strip club so we can find
Massage parlor.
out how to get a blowjob." Yeah. And that was where you went.
Yeah.
And but now you can hire a hooker for $50, and it's
Right,
like and it's easy to do. And
You got
so
the details?
the bit.
That's next
Look at that.
guest.
that'd
Next
be
guest. Next episode.
Right.
Live hookers.
6th Avenue Horse on the next podcast.
I think that overall the business has taken a dip. I think it will stay down because I think that a lot of especially the owners of the lumberyard and the management lack the creativity to draw in new people or to improve it.
Right.
Other places, maybe. And granted, I mean, I've been out of the business now for a long time, but I still know a lot of people in the business.
Right.
And I still, to this day, I can't remember the last time it happened. I mean, it was maybe 6 months ago, but I knew that I knew that I had a long lasting effect on that business when years had gone by and I still got messages from girls at night. It'd be midnight. Hey, what was that song you used to play me?
Fuck yeah.
I'd be like,
They give you like three words from it.
Let
me go back to my books.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, or they message me and be like, "Guys, sucks in here now," and I'd be like, "Sorry," And some of those girls, I'm still somewhat friends with,
Yeah,
because because being old school and getting into that when I first started was when I was 18, so it was a little pervert, and I was like,
Right,
oh
yeah.
man, this is great. There's naked ladies everywhere. Usually people work there for a few years and then they kind of get over that and they reach this maturity level in there where they're going to work, they're making money.
It was
I
about
was-
a year for me.
Yeah.
Where it was just like, okay, they're
Yep.
not naked anymore. It's just.
I was fortunate enough to have that early in life. So when I was at that peak in the entire time I was at the lumberyard, I didn't have my first alcoholic beverage. I didn't drink an alcoholic beverage my whole life until I was 36 and I was out of the club. When my kids were born, I had my first alcoholic beverage. I never smoked, never did any drugs. I was fortunate enough to learn from being in these harsh environments when I was younger and watching others and realize I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
And I had an old school DJ tell me, he goes, don't mess around, treat all these girls good. And he goes, be the shoulder that they cry on, no matter how annoying it is. Be the nice guy, and you will benefit financially.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So I always tried to be that guy.
I said treat them like you would treat your sister or your mom.
And I always treated them. Yeah. I always treated them good.
Like,
what the fuck are you into, John? You know, like, no.
John,
I was raised in Mississippi.
John,
she's stuck in the dryer again. God damn it!
Did you push your sister down a flight of stairs?
All right.
So
15th episode.
I always treated the girls good with respect, with a decent amount of respect. But it showed on my tip logs because I would see. You know, I went back and added up what I made off of certain girls over the course of 10 years, and it was incredible.
You can put that onto an Excel spreadsheet and shit nowadays,
right,
and have it all calculated up, baby. Right. Yeah, that's how it goes.
I'm not into political. I'm not into political commentary at all. So in that regard, no, because I don't believe giving these people any credence whatsoever, because it's all undeserved. Are we not people, individuals, and who is our leader? There is no leader. Shut up. Let's move on to another realm, and that's where I come from. And it seems rather anarchistic or a revolutionary, rebellious. Like you're saying, his attitude. How is he a leftist? No, I'm shockingly unbelievable. I'm me. So remove all your little preconceived notions, please.
What do we have here?
It's Castle Grayskull. And it's mine. Not so fast, Beastman. He-Man!
You can pit He-Man against Beastman playing for the power of Castle Grayskull. You have to put the castle together. Beastman's escaping.
What's wrong, Dad? Dad, you saved the castle.
Castle Grayskull from the Masters of the Universe collection. He-Man and Beastman each sold separately.
The punishment songs.
Yes. Okay. So
that
so the first episode and a half was my history, kind of going through it and all this. So now we can get into some stories, some punishment songs. Okay. Yeah. So if a girl did not tip me, I was always like, "Look, take care of me. I'll take care of you. I'll get you what you need." And if a girl did not tip, I would ask her next time she showed up. I'd be like, "Hey, forget to give some love last time.
What the fuck's going on?"
And then she'd be like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll get you double this time." Most of the time, they'd be like, "Hey, cool," because back in the day, if you didn't tip, it was like a big deal,
right? Yeah.
And then so I'd slide you some extra money. Cool, thank you, I appreciate that. You know, couple girls would not tip, and they'd see what they could get away with, and they would need reminded.
Yeah, push that fucking boundaries.
And, and so I had one girl, and my punishment song was the safety dance.
Right. Okay.
And I'd be like, "All right, guys, up on the top side, right about." God, I haven't talked like that in a long time.
I was wondering if we were gonna do it.
Got it. Holy shit! It's like riding a bicycle.
Yeah, it kind of comes back to you.
Get right back in there. So I'd introduce the girl and be like, "Hey, guys, up on the top right now. Here she comes, very sexy, blah blah blah." And then and she'd walk up. And she'd look up like, "What the fuck? This isn't what I danced to." And then I'd fade the safety dance out, and I'd be like, "All right, here's so and so's second song." Hell yeah. And then this one girl I did not like. She was named after a city, and I'll just leave it at that.
All right.
She'd always dance to the most ghetto shit you can imagine. And there's a time and the place for
Minnesota
that.
Pimp?
But
you don't know the Minnesota Pimp?
One. No. Okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She is no longer alive.
Yeah. We know.
Yeah, we know.
She's dead. I mentioned it.
Yeah.
So I've got a funny story about her. A really funny story. I'll tell that in a second. So anyway, so there was one time, this all she wanted, gangster rap, which is fine. Time and place for that, cool. She walks on stage, and I'm like, "All right, guys, here she comes, so-and-so." She steps up on stage, and literally just dun, 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 hammer smashed face by Cannibal Corpse.
Right, yeah.
And she looks up and is like, "What the fuck?" And I'll never forget, I was like, what else can I play by Cannibal Corpse? And as God is my witness, on the same CD as Hammer Smash Face, that's the band, for those of you that don't know, that played in Ace Ventura Pet Detective. When he walked into that venue and that death metal band is playing, they're playing that song, Hammer Smash Face. Song number 3 on that CD, the name of the song is Entrails Ripped from a Virgin's Cunt. And I'm like, well, this sounds like a good, wholesome family song to play for song number 2. So I played that song for her. She gets off stage, and you should have seen this bitch flailing around on stage trying to make it look sexy, dancing to Cannibal Corpse. They're talking about just killing people. She gets off stage, she walks up to the DJ booth, and she goes, Matt, she goes, what do I have to do to make sure that never happens again? And I'm like, you haven't tipped me 3 nights in a row. Let's see it. And she goes, here's $50. I was like, you're good. You're gold.
Well, that's
now.
the first night. So I got 2 nights here, sweetheart.
Yeah. But I did not have to punish girls too often. I didn't.
It was kind of a fucking known fact amongst the dancers being around them as well, that they knew that you weren't fucking around. You would totally do that shit. You know, like, so, and they respected you in a way, you know, so they didn't want to piss you off.
There was a bit of a respect level there, you know, and I did, and that's another, I did date some dancers. I did. When you're in an environment and there's so few men compared to the ratio of women, it's bound to happen. And I did date some dancers.
Right, yeah.
And I had, somewhat decent relationships. I was very good at not taking work home with me or bringing any personal shit to work. I always contributed it as I pull up to the club, take that switch in my brain and turn it off, go in and work, leave, turn it back on, go home with my girlfriend.
Right. Yeah.
I'd be in there having conversations with the girls. I'd be naked. You just, you don't, it comes a point in time where you just don't notice. It's second nature. You see all these things. And
you've seen one set of tits. You've seen them kind of all at that point.
And I would joke, some of these girls I stayed good friends with, and I would joke with them and their husbands, who I'd also be good friends with. I'm like, man, I've seen your wife naked more than you have. Yeah, and that was, and I'm telling the truth. Like, I'd be DJing for some of these girls for 15 years, and I'd tell them, and they'd laugh. It's all in good fun. But
On the inside, they want to kill you. But
I think that some men realistically can handle and are secure enough with themselves that like that joke wouldn't fucking bother them, or maybe it does incite a silent rage. Who the fuck knows? It doesn't matter. It's said. It's said.
So Minnesota Pimp.
Yes,
I'll tell you this.
Absolutely.
Some of my favorite memories about. Oh yeah. Now I always got along good with Minnesota Pimp.
I mean, you have to when you're in your position. You don't want absolutely. Yeah.
So now wait a minute. We're talking, just to clarify here. You can beep this out. We're talking about the. Okay. Just making sure. Okay. So anyway, she would usually tip pretty good. She usually took care of me. She's working one night and she's standing, and they just moved the DJ booth to the other side. So the new DJ booth. So she's standing on the steps and she's talking to me and she's crying. And she's like, someone had disrespected her, one of the guys, and she's like, I can't believe that guy, and she's got a tear running down here, mascara coming here, and she's just a mad blubbering mess, and I'm like, oh man, it sucks. And I swear to God, in the middle of her talking, she's like, and then all of a sudden she made this whoop, and she disappeared, and I realized she just fell down the steps. And so
gravity.
I look over. Now that isn't even the best part of the story. The odds of this happening have got to be in the billions.
Right.
I look over the railing, and it was this. She is rolling down the steps, head over ass over heels.
Holy shit! Rolling
down the steps. And I swear to God, halfway down, I saw her face, and it was a mixture of surprise and crying, like, ah! So she's rolling down the steps. She hits the bottom and lands right on her ass, and both her shoes go flying off. Both heels. Now, this is the best part. Both heels go flying off. One of them flies over into the ice machine. Nice. It's open. Yep. The heel goes in the ice machine. The other heel, the odds of this are astronomical. The other heel flies down over the railing and hits a guy in the head down on second stage.
Oh shit. Okay.
This all happens really quick. So it hits him in the head. She lands and she has this look on her face, on her ass. Her shoes go flying off and she has this look on her face like, and she turns and looks at me like, and she starts like that open wailing sob.
It took a couple seconds for it to hit like a toddler, motherfucker.
In the meantime, this guy the shoe hits him. He picks it up. He picks it up and he goes, "What the fuck?" And he aimlessly throws it over his shoulder. The shoe flies up and hits her in the fucking face.
Oh, yeah.
And when it hits her, it bounces off, and she's looking up at me when it hits her on the side of the face, and she gets this look on like surprise, like you know how all animals look right before they get hit by a car, where they're like, you know, that's what she looked like. The shoe hit her in the head, and then she cried twice as loud and twice as hard. My God. And I was laughing too hard to help her. I was like, oh my God, I just witnessed gold. Yes. Like, this is visual gold, what I just saw. And like I said, I always liked her. But
can't wait for you to get that Neuralink so you can fucking get that memory out.
Oh my God.
Yeah, digitally download that motherfucker.
So my hustling skills with women around the same time that happened, she had a friend that worked in there. Now, she lived in town. And one night, I kind of had this rule, don't give any of the girls a ride home. Because then I was worried, you know, like again, I didn't want him to say I'd tried anything or did anything. And my girlfriends at the time, I would say, I'm not hanging out with these girls outside of work, you know, I'm not doing that. But there was one girl in particular, she said, she was harmless. She said, "Hey, can you give me a ride home, please? I'll give you $20. And I was like, all right, where do you live? And she told me, and I'm thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, that's right by my house. And I was like, where do you live again? And she told me, and I said, all right, yeah, I'll give you a ride. And I was thinking, God, that's got to be right by my house. At the time, there was no Google Maps. So I was like, yeah, I'll give you a ride home. So I gave her a ride home. She literally lived 30 seconds from my house. The next street up and first house on the corner. Holy shit. I was like, $20 to give her a ride home. Literally, I had to drive past her house to get to my house, which was less than a block away. And I was like, $20, give her a ride home. And I was like, all right. So she goes, thanks, here's $20. And she's a bit of a pillhead. So thanks. She was always out of her gourd. Right, she gives me $20. And I'm like, cool. So I go home and I'm like, man, that was easy, $20. Next night, hey, you can give me a ride home again, do you think? I'll give you $20. And I was like, well, that's $40. Let's go. I was like, let's go. Give her a ride home. For 5 years. 3 to 4 nights a week, I gave this girl a ride home.
A 30-second difference is better than any dance.
She never caught on that I lived right around the corner. Never found out. And one night, and I wish I could tell you the number, I sat there. She quit the club. She is and she passed away now. I believe she's passed on now. But anyway, I went back and I said, I'm going to add up what I made off of this girl. Because anytime a girl tipped like that, I still wrote it in my logs, in my books. So I was like, I'm going to see what this girl paid me. And it was over like 10 grand. I made giving her a ride home over the course of 5 years.
I mean, you know, realistically, you got to make your money where you can make your money. Yeah. I'm from the streets, so I totally understand. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Hardcore streets rock on. Woo woo. Is this the same house that I had to help you break into?
You know, I heard you mention that on the podcast. I don't remember that. Was it?
So one night, you used to leave your keys right up by in between the mixer and the computer. Your car keys. Okay. And I took them one night and I was fucked with you and I moved your car. And then I fucking put them in my pocket. And then I left for the night. So I gave your keys to me.
Oh, I'm starting to remember this. You son of a bitch. I'm starting to remember this.
Sorry, I gave him because I'd left and I was coming back. And he went home for the night. Yeah, my guy Black. He went home for the night.
Black, you call him Black?
So
my guy Black, actually. My guy Black.
I asked him, I was like, dude, we're going to come up with stories with your name. What do you want to be called?
Yeah.
And he was like, just call me my guy Black.
That's awesome.
That's what it is. Yeah. But yeah, he had left with your keys in his pocket.
Oh my God.
And then we couldn't, like, you at the end of the night, and I had forgotten about it. And you're like, where's my car is here now. Where are my fucking keys? And I'm like, fuck. It clicked in. And I couldn't get a
prank gone wrong.
My guy Black.
Sorry. My guy Black.
God. It don't matter. I fucking throw it through the fucking Fruity Loops and then I edit it. It's fine. It's good.
I think I kind of remember.
So then you were like, well, I got a spare set at my house. So then I had to drive you to your house. I helped you lift in through your bathroom window.
Oh my God.
On the back side of your house. Pushed you in through your
his
window.
ass. Just pushed
you went in. That's when I saw your living room where you had all your snakes or spiders.
Yeah,
in your living room, and your TV and everything, and that little cubby thing.
Yep.
And then we got your keys. and I drove you back to the club so you could get your car, and the next day I had to wake up fucking and go over to his house.
That's hilarious.
And get him.
That is hilarious. Yeah. Okay, I kind of remember that now.
It's weird hearing other people tell stories about you, because we had another dancer on that like told a story that she recalled of the time that I was at, and I was like, oh my god, like I kind of faintly remember that now, you know. So it was like, I totally understand.
That's hilarious.
There's so many fucking things that happen in that fucking place, but
The whole time you were doing sacrifices in the shower, did you know the girls were peeing on the customers?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah.
And because I had a code worked out with some of the girls that did it, and they'd look up at me I knew they were because you couldn't tell because of the water.
Yeah.
So they'd be peeing, and then I would always tell, hey, if you pee, you make sure to give me a signal.
Give me the fucking signal.
So the signal varied per girl, but usually it was just looking up and going, oh yeah. And then I'd be like, and one night this guy was pissing me off. Yeah. And I said to
Gave
him,
her the signal?
I was like, hey, guess what, bro? You're getting peed on right now. And I shouldn't have said anything because he grabbed that girl and threw her off the shower stage.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. Unless it was, I don't know, there might have been multiple times
well,
the girl
he came charging at me.
Yeah.
And I had to run upstairs. So he's chasing me up the steps. Here comes my guy Black. And just
he got it.
He was up
every
there
10 minutes.
He was up there by the DJ booth, and this guy almost got me. And all of a sudden, here comes my guy Black. Boom! He straight spears this dude, takes this guy down, and I'm like, that's got to be the 50th time you saved my life. Thanks, man.
That's fucking fantastic,
what is that?
Man. That's dope.
Just guess.
Oh, is that the shower head at the club?
Yeah. It's fucking moldy.
Yeah.
It's fucking moldy.
It's Yuck, Yuck
you
City,
think we
bitch.
get to
Yuck
come
City,
back in town to lick that?
No, I don't think we can get him to come back and do that. The pole liquor.
Oh my god!
The pole liquor will probably not lick the shower head.
I'm looking at a picture of the shower head at the lumberyard. It's covered in filth.
It's gross.
No, it's mold. It's straight mold.
Whatever the fuck it is, there's something that shouldn't be there.
Covered in mold and desperation juice.
There's probably a little bit of fucking jizz in there or something as well.
I was like the chairs just stained to shit.
There's literally jizz on some of the fucking seats in the goddamn VIP room.
That held the smoke machine up by the new DJ booth.
Oh yeah.
That fucking thing, it's bowed in, and like one part of it is this thick, and the other part of it is this thick.
I'm not even kidding.
It's gotten water damage, you know?
Oh my god.
Yeah. It's literally going to collapse.
Still there with fucking towels sitting on it.
It's going to fucking collapse, and it's going to land on some customer's fucking head. They're going to get sued so fucking hard. Oh my god.
I remember I remember when that place used to have carpet.
Yeah.
And
that was after the dude who got stabbed. They ripped it out, right?
Yep. Because there was that was horrific, man.
Yeah.
That was that night. Honestly, I think that might have been the night when I was like, I need to have an exit strategy.
Yeah.
This could.
We came up not too long ago. I don't know if it was part of the theft and that brought us up, but we didn't come up too long after that.
There was a lot of negligence going on at that time too, with some of that stuff, like the security cameras didn't work, and they kept saying to the owners, "Look, these cameras don't work." I mean, imagine having a club like that where you get millions of dollars going in and out of there, and the business that you have with no security cameras.
Right,
and he was like, "Well, they seem to think, well, nobody knows that they don't work." And I'm like, "Well, what happens when something happens where we need that security camera footage?" And that's why they had such a problem at the time. It's my understanding, I guess, that's why they had such a problem at the time with that whole incident where it wasn't
because the dude got stabbed, and then there's court cases and fucking.
I never seen it.
There's no witness. There's no evidence.
That dude, they got in a little scuffle over some beer.
I thought it was because he got his shoes got scuffed or something.
Yeah, it was minor, and then they were arguing about beer. Someone threw a beer, but it was really quick. And then this guy, and there was one bouncer working, and he kind of walked over there, and he was like, and he kind of broke it up, and it was over real quick, and then he goes, and the one guy said, "Hey, I'm sorry," and the other guy goes, "Yeah, I'm sorry too," and they went to shake hands, and the guy literally just went. It was so quick. It was like a movie. He just and just shanked him right in the ribs, and just went right in. And he took the knife back, put it away. It was so quick. It was almost like it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And he's sitting there, and we were like 15 feet away, and we were like, "Holy shit! Did that just happen?" And it was like, "Wait, did that happen?" And the guy, the guy that did it starts walking towards us, and he's walking toward the exit door. So we were like under the DJ booth area. This guy is over here, and he steps back like he's out of breath, and he's holding his sign. He's going, oof, oof, oof. And he sits down in his chair, and he's like, oh, and he takes his hand away, and it's just fountain.
Oh, yeah.
He died about 7-8 minutes later.
Right.
And
yeah.
so meanwhile, this guy is coming. The bouncer that was there, he's getting ready to like stop him. And I go, don't do shit. And I go, he just stabbed a guy for trying to shake his hand. I go, what do you think he's going to do to you? And I go, let him go. Like, call the cops. This is murder now. Like, so the cops came. He just casually walking up the highway. He didn't even run. Didn't even just walking away like it was nothing. So
he probably
fucking parking lot. His car was too
thought he was
fucking
fucked or something.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like because they got me on camera. I might as well just fucking walk it off.
So one of the girls is like, one of the girls who was a registered nurse giving him CPR. They're getting the towels out of the closet. Yeah, he bled to death in about 7-8 minutes. Yeah, it was horrific. And we thought right then, we were like, fuck, this club's done. We thought, we were like, it was pretty scary, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the first thing we did when we got in there is we installed cameras.
Yeah.
I installed every camera that I don't know that's still there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it was that was a rough time. And then and even despite all that, I never laid off guys on the microphone. I was like, with these sacrifices. There was one night where I did 30 something sacrifices or something. And I was like, fuck, I'm running out of material. And there was a night of this was okay. So like I said, I would say racist shit back in the day. You could get away with it then. Now you'll get canceled. But back then, I was given, and then I started to not care. I'm like, I don't care if anyone says I can do this or not. I'm just going to do it because the rest of the crowd thinks it's funny. Back then, people had a sense of humor. So if someone was black, I'd say black jokes. It was okay because my guy black was cool with it. He'd be like, well, "Shit, you racist motherfucker." He'd say to me, and it was all in good fun, And but one night they brought up a shower sacrifice, and for those of you that don't know, they would get a bachelor, whatever, and they had a shower stage. So they'd set him in there. The girl would jump up and down on him, play games with him. I would insult him the whole time. And then the grand finale was they'd lay him out and take a beer can, put it in his pants, jump up and down on it, make it look like they're sticking a beer can up his ass. It was hilarious. So the bachelors all loved it. It was all in good fun, and crowd laughed. It was good showmanship. Well, the whole time I'd make fun of this guy, and I was razzing these guys. But anyway, they brought up this shower sacrifice sheet with a name that there was no way I was going to pronounce. It was something, I think it was Chinese. And I was like, I don't know what to. So I go to announce this guy's name, and I'm like, all right, at this time, I need, what the fuck does this say? We're just going to say Ching Chong Chang. I need Ching Chong Chang to the shower stage right now. And I see my guy Black looking over going, oh shit, here we go. Some racist shit. So, anyway, they pull him up and they get him in the shower. And I would always say something awful. I'd say, rule number 1, you got to sit on your hands at all times. Rule number 2, you got to do whatever the fuck I tell you to do. Rule number 3, sit back and relax and try to forget about your fiance, Amy, and all the giant black dick she has in her ass right now. And everyone would laugh. Ha, ha, ha. Well, this guy wasn't having it. Okay, he looks up and, and it's all in good fun. It's all a sense of humor. He looks up and he's just not having it, and I can tell right away. I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a brawl. Yeah. So right or wrong, I'm like, I got to keep going with this guy. Yeah. So I start with the racist shit. So it's quiet for a minute and I'm sitting there looking at him going, should I go there? Should I go there? And I'm like, yeah, fuck it. So I was quiet for a minute and a lot of the customers are like, all right, let's see what he says. And I'm like, hey, did somebody just drop some change or did I just hear? And it was quiet for a minute. And then all of a sudden everybody at the same time just laughing. The whole bachelor. But that's when I see the rest of the bachelor party. And I mean, all of them. They're all Chinese. Yeah. And they look up and they're all pissed. And they're looking up at me and I'm like, oh, okay, I better stop. So, so I keep going. But then I'm like, well, maybe I can get away with one more racist joke here. So I don't even know what I'd be saying this. I get canceled nowadays. But anyway, so I look down and I say, hey, I got an honest question for you. And I go, seriously, do you have a driver's license? And he goes, yeah, I got a driver's license. And I go, seriously, you got a driver's license? And he goes, well, yeah. And I go, how the fuck do you have a driver's license? How the fuck do you drive with your eyes naturally 3/4 of the way shut? I mean, I could blindfold you with a piece of dental floss. That was it. The whole bachelor party unified And I was halfway down the steps to start the shower sacrifice. And I was like, well, this ain't happening. I run back up the steps. Here they come. And I ran up, and the go-to was the mop closet. So I hid in the mop closet. I'm a little guy. So, and I could hear a fight going on. I you can't even make this up. I come out of the mop closet and I look over the railing. These guys are doing karate and fighting the bouncers, like straight, like roundhouse kicks, and the bouncers are catching a mid kick and just throwing them, they kicked all these guys' asses and threw them out. I mean, it was just hilarious, you know. And at the time, I was like, did I take this too far? And my man Black said, he goes, fuck no, you didn't take it too far. And he goes, when you say that stuff to people and they laugh, that's the way it should be. It's a sense of humor. Think about where you're at. You know, I'm thinking, you know, we're in a strip club.
Yeah, the shit is bananas, bonkers ass shit in the first fucking place. You know what I mean? Like people are just
the top. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Would I go out on the street and say something like that to someone? Absolutely not. You know.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it, and I was like, one of the last years I was in the club, I was at the fair, Iowa State Fair, and I was sitting there and I was sitting there playing a game, or I was doing something, I forget who I was with, and some guy comes up to me, he goes, hey man, do I know you? And I'd get this all the time. It'd be from the band or from the club or whatever, and I'd be like, I don't think so. And he goes, no man, your voice is really familiar. And he heard me talking. I was like, okay, this guy knows me from the yard. Mm-hmm. So I go, I don't think so, man. And he goes, no, I'm pretty sure I've seen you around. And at the time, you know, I had the long hair, shaved sides, recognizable. And I was like, I don't think so, man. You know, because he looked like he was agitated. And I was like,
well, at the fair, he's probably shit-faced.
So he walked away, and then he comes back with like 6 guys. Now, I'm playing a carnival game, like that little coin pusher game or something at the fair. He comes up and he goes, that's him, isn't it? And they're like, oh yeah, it's fucking definitely him. And I go, yeah, what's up, guys? And they're like, yeah, you're the DJ at the lumberyard. And I go, well, why do you say that? And he goes, yeah, you fucking had us kicked out. You fucking ordered us kicked out, and the bouncers beat our ass in the parking lot. I forget what they were pissed.
Right.
And they were like, but you kicked us out of the club personally. And that was back in the day when I was you know, as kind of a boss person.
Right, yeah.
And I kind of went, and my quick thinking was, oh no, you're thinking of the day guy. No, I said, no, you're thinking of the night guy. He's an asshole. I'm the day guy. We look a lot alike. And I was like, you're thinking, like, I just made up this ridiculous story. And I'm like, no. That's the night guy. He's a prick, dude. He doesn't even work there anymore. He's gone. You're thinking of him. He's an asshole. I know exactly what you're talking about. He got fired for what he did to you. And meanwhile, I'm like, I'm sitting there going, I think I remember these guys. I think I remember this situation.
Fuck. That's wild. That's fucking hilarious. So you got a tip for the listeners for the week?
Another new one?
Are we at the end of the second one?
It's unfortunate. We hit those fucking milestones, and it's just so easy to talk and fucking flow and everything. But we're about there, man. So you got anything for the week? Anybody?
So if we do a third one, then we will take out all serious talk and be all funny stories.
I mean, whatever's covered, man.
I could really deep dive into some of that. Ridiculous. Tip would be, oh man, don't work at the lumberyard. I don't know.
That was last week's technically, I think. You know,
well, when you hear stories, most of them pertain to back in the day. You don't hear any more stories about things that are happening now because it's just not the best. It's a tough business to break into.
I'm trying to get Christopher on to explain some of the things that are happening now, and I love my guy in Topher Listens, and so thank you very much. But he's he doesn't want to like mix personal with business, you know. Yeah. So I get a lot of insider information, so to speak. You know,
if you get into the business, save money, get out. Don't plan on being there longer than a couple years because you never know. Plan on something else. Build a future doing something else. I know that's a lame answer, but you know, it is what it is. It's not going to last forever.
When it's too good of money, you know, it doesn't last forever.
Yep, exactly.
Wells dry up.
Right. Yep.
No, that's fucking fantastic. But like I said, we got all good things have to come to a sort of end, you know, for part fucking 2. So, you know, definitely thank you again for joining us, Matt.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic to listen to all the insider information that you got going on in there. So we can't wait to wrap things up possibly in this next fucking episode and get fucking just a little bit more buck wild with it. So at the tip rail, we got John, Dave, and motherfucking Matt. So thank you for hitting us up, getting all your questions and whatever concerns, the tiprailpodcast at gmail.com. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify. You know what the fucking business is. As always, see you next Tuesday.
Pastry boy. Pastry boy. Pastry boy.
Pastry chef.